Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Speaking of doing the work, I'm going to pause. In fact, Usman and Christina, I should warn you now, they're waiting to speak next. I'm going to go off on one now for a few minutes. Because on Tuesday, I confessed to you that I'm not possessed of impeccable news sense. It's not the first time I've confessed it to you. And I've provided you with ample proof of it as well over the time we spent together over the years. I'm not one of those journalists who knows a story. There were times when I was a newspaper journalist, when I would open up the main rival, which was the Mail at the time. I was the show business editor of the Express, and I'd see a story the Mail had, and they'd stuck it on page 3, and the showbiz editor had got a wonderful byline, and it was all, trebles all round, and I'd sit there feeling like a complete cantaloupe, because I'd known that, I just hadn't realised it was a story. I don't have good news sense. It's why I thank my lucky stars every day that I've managed to find a niche in journalism where I can opine rather than actually report. But there's a website called Evolve Politics, a little sort of Twitter account as well called Evolve Politics, that started making noise at the weekend about an MP for Telford called Lucy Allan, who they had captured screen grabs of being busted on an epic level for lying on Facebook, right? What she had done is effectively add 3 words to the end of an email from a constituent that completely changed its meaning, because those 3 words were, unless you die. The words immediately prior to that, then there is no hope. Full stop, end of email. Lucy Allan decided to post it on Facebook because she wanted to highlight, in her words, the unacceptable abuse she received after voting in favour of airstrikes in Syria. However, the bloke who wrote the original email quickly got in touch. He was operating under a pseudonym. We now know his real name. He quickly got in touch and pointed out that this was, I believe the technical term is, cobblers. He hadn't written unless you die. She then claimed that it was part of a threat sent in by another constituent on the same day, and she justified her decision to post it because it showed examples of the abuse that MPs receive most days and that most people tolerate silently. She claimed they weren't posted to discredit any individual, even though it was under the name Rusty. He came forward with a surname, and she says, at that point I took the post down. She's since deleted the Facebook post and appears to have deleted her entire Twitter account. I said to you on Tuesday, this is why I started with the confession that my news sense is pants, sometimes. I said to you on Tuesday, surely an MP fabricating a death threat from a constituent, surely that's news. And you started shouting about conspiracies and bias, and I said to you, I don't believe there's bias. I know that Jeremy Corbyn's tribulations are getting a hell of a lot of coverage at the moment, and I know that some of the media was a little slow to pick up on the sheer scale and horror of the bullying scandal that's ripping out the heart of the Conservative Party's youth wing at the moment. But I really don't believe there was any conscious decision not to cover this, and I still don't, because I don't think it's beeped loudly enough on radars. So The Independent picked it up on the day that we covered it, and they concluded their report by saying, Miss Allan has since deleted the Facebook post and has appeared to have deleted her Twitter. She has yet to respond to a request for comment from The Independent. So I thought, well, let's just have a chat with her and find out what is going on. So we sent off an email. A political editor, Theo Usherwood, did the legwork for me, just inviting her to offer up a right of reply, which she sort of availed herself of. We didn't get to talk to her or anything like that, but she did reply to our email, and she said this. Dear Theo, the allegations have been denied repeatedly and strenuously. The police are investigating a death threat and taking it seriously. They are also investigating a coordinated cyber harassment complaint. campaign. As explained, Rusty is a pseudonym. I quoted from his words from online communications with him. Those were his words I posted, whoever Rusty is. He also received a proper reply to his original email. His email was not published. His identity was not compromised. These are not the questions we were asking her. We were asking her about this conflation and this astonishing coincidence that the three words, unless you die, appeared after, then there is no hope, making perfect syntactical and logical sense, but apparently, according to Lucy Allan, happening entirely by accident. She added, I am in Education Select Committee this morning, PMQs, then speaking in a mental health debate. I will not lie to you, that stuck in my craw, that bit there, because it sounded to me like she was using the fact that it was a mental health debate to sort of say, please don't bother, I can't believe you're bothering me. If it just said debate, I wouldn't have had that thought. I would be happy to do an interview once the police investigation is finished. So obviously, being a very good journalist who has received a lot of praise today for his analysis of the Heathrow situation, Theo put this straight to the MPS, the Metropolitan Police Service, who responded. On the 2nd of December, the MPS received an allegation of harassment of a Member of Parliament via social media. Officers are investigating. There has been no arrest. Inquiries continue. And there I thought it would probably end, and we'll take her at her word and maybe return to it by the time the investigation is over, but by then probably the ship will have sailed and the issue would have died. The mental image that I'm going to ask you to conjure up next is not a pretty one and should probably come with a government health warning. So I was lying in bed last night, and I was thinking, as I often do, just before the moon sort of takes over, I was thinking to myself, what are we going to do on the show tomorrow? Heathrow's going to be big. This council housing story is huge. But there's something not quite right. Something about this little saga here, and the fact that so many people on social media, I'm not one of those people that believes the social media tail should wag the main media dog, but there's so many people are so outraged by this. So many people who established their own political affiliations before contacted me and said, look, I am actually a Conservative, James. They were callers, weren't there, on Tuesday? I am a fully paid up member of the Blue Rinse Brigade, and I really think this stinks. There's a really distinct whiff of rodent around here, and I thought there still is, and I don't get it. And I sort of just found myself wondering whether or not we should this morning go back to Scotland Yard and ask if they were actually investigating a death threat. Because we know that Lucy Allan had fabricated a death threat against herself, but she insisted that the police were not only investigating, but, and I quote, taking it seriously, a death threat. So we went back to the Metropolitan Police Service, and we asked them, with reference to our original inquiry, specifically identifying the MP on whose account we were inquiring, whether or not they were investigating a death threat made against the woman who had fabricated a death threat against herself on Facebook. Do you know what they told us? Can you guess? Shall I read it to you? With one caveat. We've put in a request to Ms. Allan to talk to us already. The one caveat I have here is possibly she is referring in her original email to us to a police investigation being undertaken by a force other than the Metropolitan Police Service. Perfectly possible. But this is what they told us this morning. We are investigating an allegation of harassment, not of threat to kill. We didn't receive an allegation of threat to kill. Now, as I say, maybe another force did. Maybe another force did. But back on Tuesday, when I told you that on the 2nd of December, the Metropolitan Police Service received an allegation of harassment of a Member of Parliament via social media, that was with direct reference to the Conservative MP for Telford. They were investigating the allegation of harassment. They are not investigating an allegation of threat to kill, because, in their own words, verbatim, in black and white before me, we didn't receive an allegation of threat to kill. Now, I don't know why some other colleagues in the media haven't picked this up with quite the enthusiasm that I have. I don't know whether this is as difficult for Miss Allan as it initially appears to be. I can, as I've explained, conceive of circumstances in which the situation could be very radically diffused. She's yet to respond to our request this morning. And yet you have now a situation where a sitting member of Parliament appears to have fabricated a death threat from a constituent and posted it entirely deceitfully on social media, on Facebook. And when asked about it, she appears at this point in time to have erroneously told a journalist that the police were taking seriously and investigating a threat to kill. The police, at least the police service we spoke to on Tuesday with regard to the harassment investigation, have categorically told us today that we didn't receive an allegation of threat to kill. Make of that what you will. And back to Lucy Allan MP, the Conservative MP. Our investigations have prompted her to send you some rather powerful footage.
Well, it's an audio of a clip that we're going to look at perhaps in the next course of this afternoon, of a voicemail at a Telford constituency office that was left, and it's a clear death threat against her.
Hi, Lucy Allan. I just would like to tell you that as soon as someone's gonna kill you, hope you die.
Monday, 11:02 a.m.
And has she published the email from which the words "unless you die" were apparently taken?
We haven't received that, no.
Okay.
She has held up in that statement, though, she did hold up her hands and say to that mistake of linking the two emails there.
But we haven't seen the one that she got the words "unless you die" from. Okay. Good work, Theo Ashwood. Many thanks indeed.